Thanks for, stopping by, everybody. Hope you're having a blessed day. And if you aren't, hope you start having a blessed day. What I want to talk to you about now is something I literally just seen as I'm doing my rounds throughout the internet. And what it is House Speaker or ex-House Speaker, I don't really follow the liberals anymore, but Nancy Pelosi pretty much, I'll just play the footage.
I think the American people recognize that we must keep government open, that a shutdown is not worth anything, and that you should not have a Trump shutdown. You have the White House, the Trump shutdown. You have the White House, you have the Senate, you have the House of Representatives, you have the votes. You should pass it right now.
No, we don't have the votes, Nancy, because in the Senate we need 60 votes.
No, but in the House.
And we don't have.
You could bring it up right now
Yeah, but
today.
I can't, excuse me, but I can't get it passed in the House if it's not going to pass in the Senate. I don't want to waste time.
Well, the fact is, you can get it started that way, if they had the votes. But there are no votes in the House, a majority of votes, for a wall, no matter where you start.
If I needed the votes for the wall in the House, I would have them in one session,
Well,
would be
go
done.
do it. Go do it.
It doesn't help because we need 10 Democrats in
Now,
the
don't
Senate.
put it on the Senate,
course.
put it on the
Okay,
negotiation.
let me ask you this, and we're doing this in a very friendly manner. It doesn't help for me to take a vote in the House where I will win easily with the Republicans.
You will not win.
It doesn't help to take that vote because I'm not going to get the vote
Don't put
of the
it on
Senate. I need 10 senators. That's
Mr.
the problem.
President, you have the White House, you have the Senate,
I have the
you
White
have
House.
the House of
The White House is done,
Representatives.
and the House would give me the vote if I wanted it.
Now, the premise of this article or argument, whatever you want to call it, is this. President Trump, as you know or may not know, requested $5 billion so that he can get the funds needed to secure our southern border and to build the quote-unquote wall he's been talking about since his presidency. Now, let me stop for a second just to say, I love Mike Pence, huge fan of Donald Trump. Didn't start out that way, huge Bernie supporter fan. Then as I grew as an adult and did my actual research, I learned who really cares about this country and who really has been destroying this country brick by brick just to line their own pockets. Now, President Trump, in my 24 years of life, and my, I would say, 4 years of adulthood, out of the Barack Obamas, the George W. Bushes, any politician who I've encountered, he is the only one who has stood firmly and fastly by his campaign promises. And I think that's a plethora of kudos that he deserves that he just doesn't get. Now, the thing about the wall, President Trump, the thing about the wall is assume that as the president, he has access to information and, people to talk to and different ways to different vehicles of getting, the right knowledge to make the proper decisions than we have access to as the average Joe. He has more weight to get the knowledge that the average news reporter, Jim Acosta, might not be able to get. So assume that President Trump knows something that the average public does not know yet, unless they do astute research as I have. And I'll do another video on this. But the Middle East, there's been huge caravans, leaving the Middle East from all the violence in Syria, all the civil wars and whatnot. But they've been traveling through Europe, as you may or may not know. And I think they started around 2016, if I'm not mistaken. And now, 2 years later, the refugees are ripping Europe apart. Literally, this is no exaggeration. The Europeans themselves are saying it. I've watched the videos. I've read the articles. They are literally dismantling the fabric of Western Europe, even as I stand here talking to you now. This is something that happened because of political correctness on part of the Europeans, on the fact that the Middle Eastern refugees come from a war-torn country, not used to the civilizedness and the the privileges of being in the Western world. So they bring this mindset that's so accustomed to extreme violence, that's so accustomed to such degradation and such disease and such filth. And they bring this stuff and they used it to corrupt Western Europe from the inside. And as President Trump stands, he does not want the same fate for America, nor do I. So he made the wall. He's sending troops to stop this migrant caravan from coming up through Central America, through Mexico, and invading our country and doing the same thing to America that the Middle Eastern refugees did to Europe. Now, where are these Central American refugees coming from? Venezuela, which is a communist country under a communist regime, which are being destroyed by the communist dictatorship. Those people, their economy is failed, their currency is worthless, and those people are facing huge starvation and huge violence. El Salvador, home of the MS-13 gang, who's known for all these human trafficking cases and all this stuff. And mind you, the refugees are women and children, but some of them are criminals. Some of them are people fleeing justice from their own country. Some of them are the very reasons that their country has those problems. Now they want to leave the bed they made to come to our country and do the same thing here that they did there. I think not. Now, President Trump is blocking our border so they can't just march here, which I support. But he did not completely shut down the borders. Those refugees can still follow all the proper channels and come into this country the right way. But they don't have any claim to American soil. They don't have any claim to American resources. They don't have any claim to American prosperity. That belongs exclusively to Americans. The problem with this country is that we spend so much time trying to be the police of the world and trying to make sure all these other countries have help. But we forgot to help our own. We forgot that Flint, Michigan went for years without clean water while we're so focused on every natural disaster that happens everywhere else besides our own country. Why is that? Why is there so much, even during the Barack Obama era, he did all this bragging about how he lowered the unemployment rate and brought jobs back? With my own eyes, I have not seen anything that would lead me to believe that besides the news articles that said it was so. When I talk to people, when I look in their eyes, I see tiredness. I see that they want to change, and I see that they're tired of the status quo. Trump is the man put in charge of America who will go against the status quo for the betterment of America. I believe he is blessed by God. I believe he is doing the right thing, and I will support him wholeheartedly until I see reasons not to. And just as I spoke against him before, and now I speak for him, if he loses his mark, if he turns his back on the well-being of the American people, I will once again speak out against President Trump with even more fervor than I did at first, because now it is based in fact, it is based on reality, not based on news articles I saw or videos I wrote, but I've actually been watching President Trump. I've seen how the Dow Jones hit 20,000 and broke multiple records. I've seen how the GDP of America has increased by $2 trillion. Do the research. It's there. It might not be on CNN. It might not be on TV, but the proof is in the internet. And I suggest you go find it out. This has been a report from the Mountain of God. I thank you for spending this time with me. I pray that God will bless you and all your family on the other side of the screen. Have a good day, night, morning, whatever it is. Just enjoy yourself. Amen.